Okay, lowercase d, capital A, capital C, lowercase p, lowercase k, lowercase x. Everyone good?
Give me a second. Yeah, I'm good.
Good? Pretty good, great. Overview 1, half theory is legit, and this will be infinite view, shop the video, what is you should make true, sure to make of the time travel, no, 6 minutes, missing movements, every single time, can be so other, you should know, John Africa, you still like defense, half theory supposed to much larger, should give lost one for the 1 over 1/7 of the 1 see fairness was, a self defeating every argument actively conceded the holy fairness, assuming the judge of value, fairly be a validation, and it's making sure, and the value of one and a nature of another debate includes the truth of my argument, so still cause that, see, consider, based on activity between fairness and truth, the good no lose or 50, no sooner away, it becomes possible to check, MTV speeches of weeks by the shells, and matter of the 2 NTV, just like image 296 minutes, making it impossible to 3 minutes to overcome to all the battles from the truth of all of the resolution, a consideration, the values. Asking for the definition and given a resolution, 5 futures, find the gates, and not the truth of performance, the proof to means the intrinsic to the nature of the activity. It's a jurisdictional issue because the question of the good judge should go outside the scope of the game, obviously, to negate the truth that has all the solutions wholly false, and it's here, 12 million drugs, arguments, solution true, and 90% arguments, solution false, interpretation, the name was going to argue the principle of assumption of violation, including both the consistent one and two, before I try to otherwise, the same as the one dream of the needs, the one who votes in the assumption of its political magazine, some should just question how things find out means that it was something that is more interpretation, and must the phone for initial offense, we have to be evaluating charge of defense by offense, being offloaded from the hijacks, the performance strategy is impossible to run win both as a office, you just from the enemy russians and having you on the possible form, especially because you're collapse either, who can ensure the be negative change after schedule one time allocation, all me, you have to focus on see it because you will love the Lord, never seven self image, no way, because you will name when it's have to good voice, but the framework, but actually, because it's true, goodness and actually, your hand intertwined with the independent ones from ontology, science, and logic, 11, Mulligan, 17, actually, and positive direct link between goodness and actuality, nothing else is how living in ontological arguments, use the validation, move abstract to the country, gun to these public, know nothing about the entertaining, will not be public, there's something that's divine, time to be theorizing, inherent the actual, explanation only rational, they are like working for truth, that can only be justified, no one's actualized, lots of logical data, that every possible word, only possible word can be actual, the actual logical requirements are function the same way as logical ones, and that evidence will constantly fail because as the structure of reality's preconditions for existence rather than particular cause that made it different to exist, but if these are not X least or Y, but rather X is because in these conditions Y, Z, which will be consequential theories of the world are incoherent, axiomism, and a paradigm of ethics, does not place humans at the center of realism means by enacting ethical principles through the natural world is instantiation of physical entity, perceived metaphysical good, through the existence of the world and insofar state, so the of the metaphysical truth does the metaphysics not natural, more natural because fallacy is not impossible to reduce goodness to knowable property because the true fundamental cycle, for example, whether the action is a pleasure, the action produces pleasure, technology follow that pleasure and goodness are the same property, says the directly describes the same things, I mean, they are the same thing to epistemology, only not true, the epistemology reliable because empirical facts will semi DMS and receiving not directly connected to the truth together that self beneath they can be deceived, only intuitions are consistent with non-natural, so they think, they only have more properties that are natural than all we can do is know the claims are good, because the claim that itself, the intuitions have no constitution, the evidence of its own possibility, that self is more intuition is more like, is logically what is logically possible, the evidence itself is able in front of me, so intuitions does not need a supernatural sense, thus the standard is consistency with ethical intuitions, so before one algorithms collapse intuitions, the only reason why we adopt more frameworks is it draws the conclusion, so consistent with intuitions, and for it is the details of the skill of the safety strangers who not has an order, you told me that these are intuitions determine whether or not order is true, which means a response to the framework of self-defeating intuitions is high between second level reasoning, which means that the way debate is close and all you should automatically default afterwards what a default is to intuition like keto correctly, interpreting the actual one I know we know only know that when it becomes one day based on intuitive test means that it's keto, it's talking overall paradox because there's no way to interpret moral statements absent our intuition, 3 theoretically for intuition, take critical thinking, intuition, really requires to use arguments for intellectual appearances, which forces British action engagement positive framework, think about how they respond to strongest internal link and logic be multiple, no required and the arguments proposed, which are the range of logic problems, see around all other ranges initially, prevent the range, either side you can just argue anything is intuitive and way between consequences and tests, which means that it's much typical and also the maximum amount of garnering back up one distinction between yourself, procedural, something intuition, procedural always comes associated with determinants, that's what you access and effects of the intuition in the first place, you might have influence resolution after requirement to imagine the intuition acting implement whether you said you out just like the principle of attack means that they must have an alternate mode of family, just like the imagination through maybe authentically connected with the literature, maybe feel lines of the philosophical literature, A feel and maybe we represent the theories that we learn exist in literature and more like we learn because I'm not the B is ground, otherwise everyone evolves into having to enter this complex extinction ways and music, when you see construction because I know from often becomes irrelevant contention the United States, watching adopt a well-tax of and having some spike and don't require me to my someone, well the neighbors linear relation with our individual ability to reach others and access our own intuitions, more human relations, more myopic, still in 17 well, in particular way of mostly studies function, like you can look at people mission reactions because they most reading mission to become elderly and less than 30 well, to more self-focus again, while the electrical capacity to codes the ability to make more moral judgments and having circumstances equivalent to natural ability, cloud decision making with monetary compulsion, that's 19 of the classes and the abilities and abilities of the corner of the classes they listen to security system version choosing wages increase opportunities being wealthy detriment to people's mental health compulsion every consideration change brain chemistry increase how much of this too much for stopping intrusive increase age engage in fair and transactions such as fairness and human biological basis and literature and games of what is in findings which often more is necessary and object office that receive unfairness and indicate departments of fairness that affirms given intuition that those should pay their fair share shadowing hard 20 all technical multiple so we need to do those good that should be the more that total what that question on how to help text the economical from what within a child have to pay the fair share methods to the first one for now to otherwise technical theory so to couple consequences from the will would hold responsible for the consequence to consequences from the will which means any to be bold because agents cannot control things being punished for inertia doesn't communities messages like future knowledge doesn't happen before happening again 5 consequences be possible to make then 5 knowledge of safety if fewer people make the Russian advice and physical economic trends age doesn't turn secure focus as from most of these equal probably all comes human because of both ethics and doing what he said no corresponding answer can know whether action judgmental offers taking me judge can't know that happening fertilizing plants and basis of by humanity and providing political evidence and no we thought to use possible and intuition solve by drawing to research for relations in the intelligence and control more diversity because the strong effect is the high level of diversity to introduce entirely the trying to research and know basically race and native social construction model time within the hydrogen construction society which race is meaningful and this is civil society to and sustainable by and all 21 humanities causing market loss was really similar like church of education that has short term environment serving damage the physics to affect the life and the ability and the methods to major extinction of technically undeniable by the classic continue to enable the event problem so degradation by reversing last year this inherently means never that choosing means evaluating maximally pursuit to show the claim which means the imagination of the action is relevant to its value okay the issue of it gives the value method consequence corresponds to the fact that it must be obtained to be true for ultimately questions of values it means that the resolution is a question of policy and active has advocating for values system opposite not only also not prescriptive value rather value expression for argument happiness not prescriptive or command but other statement that the universal happiness is ideal the variation which is possible to actually become less prudential skip to go back to the first argument to defend economics it isn't so then we don't have to do the apathy for example the procrastinate is as short of the is best qualified right but if you say says yes well actually it never actually complete the reading out to say no because better than the actual alternative.
Should I give a pause?
Yeah.
Okay. Any reasons to affirm independent of the framing?
No, it's just framing and offense.
Okay,
obviously
sure.
the
Does the after presumption or permissibility?
If it's all conceded, then no.
Okay, that's fine. How do we determine what is intuitive?
Yeah, there's a few arguments. Like there's a question of like how we weigh offense because obviously there's just things that are intuitive, i.e. are substantive intuitions, but then there's a question of procedural intuitions or procedural violations of the framework, which would prevent other people from accessing those intuitions.
How do we determine if we prevent someone else from accessing their intuitions?
Well, by the intent of the action, obviously. If
Okay.
the act's intent come first.
Sure, that's fine. How do I like? Do we agree? Do we think that everyone should have like we should protect everyone's intuitions?
Well, yeah, the argument is all intuitive agents are.
Okay, sure. What is axiarchism?
Yeah, axiarchism is the idea that goodness and actuality are inherently intertwined, i.e. things that are good are actual things are
What does it mean for something to be actual?
Like for it to exist, to be actualized, like not to like, like i.e. things that do not exist will not be actual.
So everything that exists is good?
Well, the argument is that things exist because they are good, which means that.
Okay, how does that explain native genocide?
How does that explain native genocide? Well, the argument is that we have an intuition, and we say
No, that's not what I'm asking about. I'm asking about if things, like, the reason things exist are because they're good.
Well, it's not the reason things exist, i.e. just like any event that exists is good just because it exists. That is not the argument.
Then what is?
Yeah, okay, the argument is it's indexed to specifically, thing like actualism, it's indexed to how we prove intuitions exist, i.e. there being a metaphysical truth more realistic.
Okay, if we disprove intuitions, does this disprove this argument?
Well, no.
Okay, then how does this argument function independent of intuitions?
Well, it functions independent of intuitions because it proves that metaphysical causality fail and that paradigms of ethics do not place humans at the center, or we shouldn't place humans at the center.
Okay, sure, that's fine. How do we, what do we do if someone's intuition is racist?
We say that racist intuitions, and this is the right evidence, those are created through material and societal conditions, those are not innate values, are not innate.
How do we determine what is innate and what is not innate?
How do we determine? Well, the argument is that innate intuitions never violate the procedural ability of other intuitive agents to act.
But I'm asking you how we determine if something is innate or not.
Well, yeah, that's what I just said. It's like the question of procedural intuitions. And there's also the question of
how can you make the claim that innate
intuitions
intuitions do not infringe on other people's intuitions? And the reason that you know that genocide is not intuitive is because of that argument. That seems circular.
How is that circular?
Okay.
The argument is that we should never infringe upon other intuitive agents, which means genocide would never be good under our
Okay, but how do you know that no one's intuitions would infringe?
Well, the argument is a procedural violation of the framework always outweighs people's substantive intuitions, which was the
What does that mean?
That means that the substantive intuition that you have in your head is always outweighed by procedural violation of the framework, i.e., no matter what your intuition is as a person, it is always bad to violate other intuitive agents procedurally, which means that it outweighs.
Okay, sure, that's fine. That's okay. Did you read everything in 1AC?
Yeah.
Okay, cool. Okay, 15 I'm confused. Where are you saying?
Yeah, sure.
Okay, order is one in case. Case is the underview, then the framework, then the method. Is everyone good?
1 second.
Good.
Everyone else is good?
1 second. Got it. We're good.
Okay. Everyone's good, right?
Yeah.
Settler colonialism was permitting social nations to require the elimination of Indigenous life and land via the occupation of settlers, the appropriation of land natives to go into child slaves into labor sucking. 12. The horizons of settler colonial nations require the appropriation of Indigenous life and land. It's settlers opportunity for things settlers make their land. Their social capital, the representation of relations of land, rivers, and epistemological balance, temporarily constrained by reasserting state of occupation of colonial destruction on demand. It involves subjugation forced labor by child slaves whose bodies allow them to become the property or capital slaves of persons that access child slave search. As the slavery labor can never be paid because the payment has to be informed with property land sellers or diverse, or despite the decolonization as a metaphor allows people to communicate on contradictory decolonial desires. The terms decolonization to signify the by track towards liberation. Decolonization must involve repatriation of land. Settler intuition is genocide. The capacity for change is rendered coherent through an absence of native futurity. Colonization is fundamentally psychic, premised on a colonial desire, genocide, desire for wholeness as a fundamental feature of language. Young. 17% psychoanalytic theory critique premise neural disciplines and approach to hold the attention of a biblical as finite with a person epistemological unit that strive allows the begin to look at the child futurity, which is eliminated into awareness. The stereotype indicates attention between borders like libido relations and possible escape. The objective is not to overlook the dark side of the first peoples in the name of the progress single body politics, which is for fulfillment rely on negation of the settler of the other, the dictators that raise the shit outside the purview of the norm. There's no sharing time zone. They go once on between nobody, federal governments. Intensify this act assimilation modality and difference in languages not reflect the universal meaning. The signing of the conscious signification never fixed it. Meaning is constructive quoting point constant that fixed ideas signifiers and structural meaning. The Indian is a quoting point through which the politics is structured signification organized the meaning of nation citizen. Sovereignty subject to that harness of the libidinal energy that exists both in the Indian residential schools before the child enters the language. The bodies are marked as object. The child to the mode of being in the world is not deliberate. Practice of the child and this person is imagined to always be already outside the history of extinct. Truth is a place. Truth is place based not a priori or universal. The valorization of detached objectivity eliminates indigenous ontology. Cook. 18. A manifestation of elimination and also elimination of these people as irrational numbers that arise from a subtle conception of rationality, subtle colonial epistemology, belief in nowhere, just by the elimination of these people, the philosophy's place, agents of the intersection of power and place, identity, is emergent in the Western epistemology place. It's not. Interestingly, assailing their city seeks articulated view from nowhere experience is a mere occasion where we realize universal truths in the places relevant knowledge beyond doubt where it's deduced from places universal that against relation to land. Rebuttals other colonialism conceptions of epistemology. Their explanation of violence as a symbolic systems and discursive power dynamics deny the centrality of land and colonialism. 9. Emphasis on biological politics and becomes this expense of geopolitics, production of race, space the same way envisioning sovereignty, accept and count for left, aside indigenous peoples, the solid states do not regulate your life, but also legitimate collectivity, occupancy, the struggle by native peoples has been envisioned less about the particular domains and the political authority, the ability to define the country and scope of law and politics, such a shift draws attention towards everything contesting the overriding association and control. My arguments towards the limit of racialized discourse, the difference between from geopolitical self-reference arguments, the human racism and racism can be challenged and political policy can account for the structuring balance performed by sovereignty. Thus, the only alternative is refusal of the act and settler ideology is unconditional. Simpson 16. The political describes the effectiveness of the possibility, but also the political question where it should. The refusal was the same, but also the theory of political levels. Pronounced over and over again, refusal to connect the apparatus of the state, refusal operating like a grammar postulate system, time, refusal available by itself, research and help, things beyond what counted as the channel recognition, refusal holds on to the truth, but force of presuming experience operates the way it reviews to consent ongoing, the sense of what this is all over, the refusal of military emphasis of the state. The role of the ballot is to embody refusal of settler logistics get normalized within the settler psyche and naturalized disposition of violence. Settler colonialism is reliant on the everyday reiteration of effective understandings known as the settler common sense, which makes the one to see iterative refusal a necessary project to build towards material decolonization. Rifkin 13. Settler concepts is not the extended security given our mark arguments settlement as a system like that is equated into forms of non-native beings require indigenous sovereignty at the center of political testament body recognition of disposition needs to attend our relation with place needs to shift towards an exploration of settler geographies and the ordinary specific psychic life takes ongoing association of non-native authority with distinct moralities processed by which settler dominance and reconsidered side of views and are materialized through everyday normalization of the state aims and mappings, color card mappings. Our interpretation as a role as judge is to evaluate the app as a research project. One plan focus pushes to make a testing statement leaves the rest of the app on question they should be responsible for the way of knowledge concerning because that produces the best model for activism. The K is my question informs the value of the game. If we want to be train students to be violent on the wrong stage to first performance state, you're an educator responsible for the judgment behavior and scholarly production of the app. That means you draw them completely with a link independently. But actually debate is the site of a scholarship production, not policy making 101. If the individual balance not shape personal activities, iterative investments in research models, influence or political orientations. Not the case. No binary theory, the 2 hour split on covers 3 pieces of 7 6 2 times 2 in the 1 2 areas class persuasive advantage, the note the 3 and R, and times 2 splitting the order spends force to spend 230 on 15 seconds using substantive resolvability. They always accept 2 AR responses, so they're always lose, or they are responding to 3 intervene, making a resolvable value in the debate after the 2 hour tries to off checking their abuse. The after not specific actual mechanism reject the team for discharge. Since the one thing was skewed precludes our ability to the voter for education said precludes our ability to be this position between the ability and 1 AR 3% of the defense. The debate the abuse in the debate is marginal, not to abandon substance. Now norm setting is wrong, reject norm settings. There's no defense for the 1 AR, but when it's but it massively overstates abuse, precluding substance is over punishing. Yes, to our way and answer to a sandbag. Now, when I say 2 fairness is wrong just because fairness is necessary does not mean debate is an impact. Does not mean it's an impact on the vacuum. Sufficient defense fairness means the debate is not impossible to win, but even though fairness violations are always inevitable, i.e. coaching, research, etc. Answers the A3 CP. When I see 3 was answered on the K. When I see 4 we meet. When I see 5 interpretation negative must not concede in favor of consensual office based on AC encourages basically an academically shy debate justifies the abstracting standard promoting based on saying is insulated from criticism. That's a terrible interpretation of debate and should be held accountable. Now, the framework axiomism is wrong. Things don't exist because they're good. Can't explain. Stereotypes that break, etc. Morgan relies on divine independent external watch proves the link. The truth is, can we concern via relation to land each other? We see there's no truth beyond because experience, disagreement. If two people disagree, metaphysical facts are the only way to resolve experience. We should agree. We agree. We shouldn't place humans at the center, but we shouldn't move beyond humans either. Instead, we should understand ourselves as connected in a web of relationality to people. Structure in the nature and structure around us, non-naturalism does not take out the cake because we ascribe value to a natural property. Instead, we should begin with what we know is ethically wrong. We all say this concedes intuition, but it doesn't. It would just say we arrive at truth like the compromise of genocide through interpersonal engagement, not through abstract philosophical processes and valorization of only Western philosophy. As vision is what we critique. No motivation. They can always deny our intuition. Two concedes the K matters, but we disagree about how they arrive at the conclusion that the intuitions matter and how they understand intuitions. The argument is not that the intuitions matter, but racism should be a shared starting point for organizing. Through framework office should be conceptualized by the reader. We made. Now the method. When I see 1, we can defend our counter-efficacy. It is mutually exclusive with the calc. Now, when I see 2, induction is true. There's no false induction outside the academic vacuum. Testing and empirical claims solve the regress deduction is worse. Expanded intuitions in a world that if it never has an implication in a factious world, then no one ever be held morally obligated with anything in the factious world. Induction is the rule of logic, no impact to circularity because we are logicians. Now, when I see 3 was predictions failed. Predictions are accurate to store data and disaggregate data and technological advances make our predictions more accurate over time. They need to apply their offense into our predictions. Otherwise, you should assume 100% risk. Now, neuroscience proves ontology is wrong. Neuroscience are not in the context of native people. Our claim is not that people associate danger with natives, which is what their tests account for, but rather that people are inherently biased against native people because of their policies, interpersonal relations, etc. Now, 1 6 and 7, if we win the 1 is racist, they should lose.
Okay. Very good. Okay. Read everything in the talk. Yeah.
Like not every single analytic.
Okay. You have the interest in neuroscience, yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. Cool. Why is settler colonialism bad?
Because it causes indigenous violence.
Why is that bad?
We think indigenous violence is bad. That's every single ontology argument we've made in the
Yeah.
world.
Why is it bad?
Are you asking why genocide is bad? Like that causes
Yeah.
like that causes death, suffering, etc.
Okay, why are those things bad? You're
We think those
saying
things are just bad. Like
they
we
are just bad.
yeah, but we've also made the argument
Okay,
this is
that
not
sounds great.
this
They
is
are
not
just
concede intuition's authority. This is like an argument
I think it
made.
does, but let's talk
Cool,
about the young
you answer
evidence.
that.
What if you wanted psychoanalysis in this one? And see, the young evidence says we have psychoanalytic drives. Where has this been wanted?
Sure. Our argument is that intuitions, like some people have intuitions to like cause genocide, i.e. like
I asked you
Hitler.
where you wanted psychoanalysis is talking about a
No, no.
psychoanalytic theory. That's the fourth line of the college.
Yeah, our argument is that some people have like racist intuitions.
That's your argument. Is some people have racist intuitions. That's the argument this card makes.
Well,
okay,
Card
cool.
makes more arguments, but like, okay, wait, I'm confused what your question is.
Okay, I asked you where have you wanted psychoanalysis. The card is about
Some
a
are psyches
psychoanalytic
are
theory.
biased against indigenous people.
Where have
like,
you
that's
wanted
right.
psychoanalysis?
That is the young. You just asked me about the
Where
card
have
that
you?
says that.
Where in the card? Where's the warrant in the card?
Okay, it says that okay.
What is
It says,
warrant
quote, it
lack
allows us to
anything?
begin to locate the child within futurity onto which is laminated into whiteness. The death drive indicates attention.
Where do you want
bordering
the death
sex-
drive?
Huh?
In this one, the death drive. Where's it?
No,
Where's the
these,
warrant for that?
no, I just read the argument, dude.
It just says the death drive. There's no warrant.
And then
for
it explains the warrant right after, and then you cut me off.
Okay, then say the warrant.
Dude, just read the card. Like every single.
No, I want you to tell me.
Okay, it says that, quote, the genocide of first peoples in the name of progress as a single body politic, on a shared futurity, fulfillment relied on the negation of the other, the bad, dangerous, the race that stood outside of the purview of the norm, and those sharing the time zone, ones into being
This
a
seems to just be saying a psychoanalytic argument without psychoanalysis, but sure. What does the alt do?
refusal of the act in favor of decolonization.
So it decolonizes. Is it like material decolonization then?
Sure. Yeah.
It is. Like you defended. Okay, great. The framework argument. Okay, cool. Let's talk about must not concede the affirmative condition level offense. What's this mean?
Like is answering your interpretation that we must.
Sure. What was actually that's fine. Let's see. Are there any voting issues other than what's it called?
If it's a voting issue, there's something else.
Anything other than ASPEC?
ASPEC, AFC, that's it.
Just like the OCI?
Correct.
Okay. Cool. Okay, that's good. I'll take that one.
Does anybody have a laptop charger?
Yeah. Which kind?
USB-C. Anyone's worse. Thank you so much.
It's the one without the brace.
Okay.
Was there anything that you read that wasn't in the doc?
No.
No. didn't leave the Nichols coin?
Yeah.
Oh, okay. So you only read the young and the cook links then?
No. Rifkin.
Oh yeah. Okay. There's, well, actually, let me make the coin top.
Are you taking trouble for that?
Yeah. I'm sending it. The order is just going to be the app overview, the, what's it called? The app overview,
Give
the
me, give me
app,
1 second. Okay, yeah. What's the order?
app overview, the app, the text. It's gonna be kind of weird because it's gonna be like the line by line on the app page will be done on the app, but then the like app extension and stuff will be done.
Alright.
Good. Continuing this is incoherent, takes out all of the voting issues. No RVS was also continuing means the OCI is incoherent. It's just an RVS. You just see my role is wrong. Also, the expect argument didn't have a warrant, and it doesn't matter because I don't fit. If you have the first list, after the extent that obviously you can see the film is still with evidence that the procedural violation of our intuition because it kills empathy, which depends on the village. Probably access to intuition, care about other people's intuition. Well, that more on the case, the alignment of the arguments now, actual reason arguments, and it's about events, and not events are good, which will be the metaphysical things like intuition, to answer the argument, the mulligan stuff. It doesn't matter because I don't need to win intuition, so I should be independently concede the argument from science, which proves that we use scientific theorizing, which proves that it's inherently actual to the world is actually the disagreement. Argument no one plus our feminine allows for disagreement, we just don't violate others, which is our entire argument. Solve all the arguments. The next argument we agree, the rest of the arguments don't matter because I'm not going. The rest of the arguments don't matter. Not going for them. They conceded the offense now. Yeah, the K proper. Top level on the K, there is no link in the app solved to agree with the K. You should not need an explanation for why colonialism is bad, other than just our initial intuition that it is a bad thing means that the only relevant distinction between them is that the app grounds this intuition in truth via normative explanation means that one, the app solves colonialism because it never happens and we follow the framework, and second, the app always on normativity since it's able to warrant our own conclusions via ideal theory. Lucas justifies why people have an inherent intuition towards being altruistic, which was conceded, and the reason why our framework solves the entirety of the K. Also, only ideal theory can justify the K. Shelby 13 on theory can succeed without a statement of justice fact of the we respond to injustice without knowing the scheme unjustly when our values seem to conflict uncertain about how we're just discriminating around whether or not society is always altered in the absence of more systematic conception of justice. Also, you can combine ideal and non-ideal theory together, which means that solves are better because ideal and non-ideal theory is necessary to set the goals for what non-ideal theory is striving for. It's now the K top level permutation justify the all through the half framework, the inevitable normativity being able to justify why system as long as heat movement buildings are all only moves for the internal process of natives but not broader structure. Second, then the equality operated intuitive, and then do the app solves all the links and following your framework inherently solves the K and means ontologies now follows from do both and materially topping the world tags and prevents a structural inequality that all can overcome the status quo, and they can overcome the tiny link to the acting and win right. Wealth tax specifically is a tipping point. Also forgot to do this here. Extend truth testing. They've conceded truth testing. It is game over on this because you do not have a topic link, no new two in our arguments, and it justifies infinite sandbagging, and it's impossible for me to ever overcome also intellectually disingenuous education offense on that. You can see that's the most conceded to the debate. There's an NECA evidence which means it is what you must do. You can see that's written on the ballot coming solution. They need to have also conceded a jurisdictional weighing claim from the 1AC. That's a question of the judge's jurisdiction, means you cannot go outside the rules of the game, means that even if they're winning all of the accessibility or other arguments, there's pragmatic reasons why, it means you just simply cannot go outside of it because you're down by the rules of the activity, which was conceded now is all of the arguments because they're just pragmatically good. Now why they always have constituted now the line by the K force ontology extend right 12. It was functionally conceded. Neuroscience proves that racial bias is malleable and develops as a result of empirical circumstances. It does not exist inherently within the subject. A line from the court is quote, it is within our power to construct a society in which race isn't meaningful. Known science outweighs because it's verifiable, not conjectural based on random examples, which is their arguments. You only say that arguments are structural, not psychoanalytic. First, your young evidence is psychoanalytic, and the other case just doesn't have a claim without libidinal examples, which means one evidence outweighs proves that we can change things. No scientifically, which outweighs all of your arguments, especially because I'm just conceding the non-naturals and the false, independently more answers the ontology centralizing over time standards that becomes colonialism used to individual identities and its event non-structural new deal, plenty of progress and wealth tax being empirically good, which was conceded as a delinquent to the K. Now on the link's top level, but they're all incoherent, just say the state did dispossession, so it's the text of matters and non-secular aligned to ontology, and ignores the fact that they conceded the wealth tax materially helps oppressed individuals with links to the K. Also concede that we do not defend the state or implementation, which is the quick K evidence, which is game over on this debate. The young evidence, no one was like being true or lacking universal character, because it's embarrassing. Also procedural flaws because some minds corrupted our intuitions. We still know we shouldn't violate natives' right. Also answers that the quick evidence is hard. Saying the truth and contingent on place justifies colonialism being more because settlers had a different truth. We all agree colonization bad, which means that universal truth is necessary, which is our intuitions caused by rationality is not my act. If evidence doesn't have never says symbolic existence is incoherent. Also say matter which is above the alternative. The alternative it links to you just as hard because you use calls a metaphor, which cases that I think also build enough shifting to try to say it's solve the case. And it's not material to let some people die due to wealth inequality independently just cannot resolve the case. The decolonialism materially bad. It causes people materially bad. Other countries fill in, which means we cannot stop them. And there's a bunch of angry settlers with nowhere to go, which means they just recolonize more on the framework of value. The altruistic and realistic method for resolving settler colonial violence. And we wouldn't solve better than after using after is not a legitimate standard for doing effective racist strategy. You produce advocates show good point of flaw. We cannot advocate for actual change. Or arguments you have an internal link to your impact because we do not actually say the slim the standard evidence to your thesis. And fairness is good because otherwise indigenous people would always be considered lesser.
Uh, 401. Can I roll this?
Yes.
Okay. The order is the K. True testing will be done on the K. Alright. Is everyone good? Similar clues with alternate antagonists that enforce everyday acts of intimate and overt violence in the U.S. Sustained by logical elimination, therefore the belief that natives are predestined to disappear as civilization advances justifies physical displacement and cultural extermination that is concession by the 1AR should filter the link debate because it means that the omission of indigeneity, the act is weaponized by settlers to accelerate genocide, the impact outweighs the act. You should flip your impact calculus prior to indigenous suffering because they're literally written out of every equation at turn that results in internalization of colonialism and literal genocide. Why are so many suicides on the rise? Why are so many natives dying from alcoholism? Why do police kill natives more than any other group in the United States? As far as psychological violence is incalculable, and as an educator, you should adopt the ethic that aggressively forefronts with that which debate always disavows. Further, there's a structural difference between colonialism and settler colonialism. The 1AR has failed to recognize, so even if they win, that they resolve some form of colonial violence, the permutation fails because there's an imperative delineate unique path for settler decolonization. Now, now the line by line. The framing issue is that they've conceded the framework. The 1AC is an object of research, and the role of the judge and the role of the ballot is to validate the 1AC as an object of research. We said that in the 1AC, we specifically said that this answer is true to this thing, and the 1AR did not touch it. I do not care if it doesn't answer to this thing because we said that it does, and the 1AR just completely dropped it. They've dropped the role of the ballot and the role of the judge is to validate the 1AC as our object of research. They've dropped subject formation means that this individual round is able to shape our beliefs. And that means if we win a risk of a link, then you should reject the 1AC for being racist and then cause the internalization of these racist beliefs. We do not need to. We do not. We were kicking the permutation. It was conditional. Now, ideal theory. The ideal theory good stuff is irrelevant. It's not our argument. It's not just ideal theory bad, but their use of intuitions are racist. Even if other forms of ideal theory explain the critique, they need to win that their specific for conceptualization of ideal theory is true. Independently, ideal theory is the link and engagement of view from nowhere. The skirting is called question of historical analysis, abstracting away to an ideal society that ignores the conditions of the present ideal world, disconnected from it, respect, mutual toleration, etc., but ignores that natives are constantly screwed over by settler society. This also assumes that everyone holds the same viewpoint, subject position, rationalizes the same. That is wrong because settlers and natives are different ethical obligations. Society, but ideal theory can't explain the different positions or why people are not equal. Now the permutations all go away because we've kicked the alternative, but there's also no way that you can combine ideal theory and non-ideal theory because there's no alternative. The UNC is an object of research and they should be held accountable for that. They need to win by their affirmative is good. Now the links we'll do it here. Extend the young evidence. They dropped our psychoanalytical claim that settler psyches are structured against indigeneity. The settler drive to naturalize its own existence means that settler identity coheres itself around the destruction of the native settler colonialism, overcodes our capacity to access objective intuitions where what settlers consider intuitive is inevitably driven by the desire to eliminate natives, which means that the framework is a weaponized to paint death as natural and intuitive and natural. Now extend the cook evidence. Knowledge is place, not a priori. This was dropped. The way that we come to know knowledge and identity is inevitably grounded in relation to land, society, and other beings. The entire app is predicated on the concept that exists as a metaphysical truth, independently of humanity, which is their mulligan card, so they not get the no link. There are two implications. One is that their understanding of universal metaphysical truth is wrong. They cannot abstract away from our location of truth, not to understand truth in a vacuum, which is proven by the fact that we consider intuitive inevitably influenced by where we grow up. B, their understanding of universal metaphysical truth is unethical. It valorizes the quote objective universal truth over indigenous understandings of truth that is always continually tied to time and place, which devalues indigenous knowledge and agency. Indigenous agency is tied to land that requires indigenous people to forego ground substantive identity and assimilating to Western identity, which says that improves the link. Now, intuitions are racist, dropped as both the substantive and procedural level. One is substantive intuitions that exist outside of subject position and informs that racism, slavery, and genocide are all intuitive to certain groups, and despite their abhorrence, and even between cultures, we see divergence in intuitions, e.g. some cultures see environmental destruction as intuitively bad, others not, some non-humans as having intuitive worth, others not, which means that the poisoning of non-shared substantive intuitions is homogenizing. The second argument is procedural. Decolonization requires the ability to shut people out, even if the cause unable or ability to be empathetic or read them, for them or to read them as per the one Stillman evidence or contention arguments. Engage in settler and granting indigenous communities and the capacity to assert sovereignty, even if it means refusing to engage with the settlers. Now, The affirmative, the operator intuitive stuff is wrong. The affirmative counsel of the link they draw the framework did not get to weigh the case in every single well-taxed good or solving links argument or solving the critique materially goes away because it's a question of representations of the one I see. Now, the true testing stuff is wrong. We did not continue true testing. We said the one I see is an object of research, and the role of the judge and the role of the ballot is to evaluate the one I see as a research project. That means jurisdiction and constitutivism all goes away because we've explained why the judge is supposed to be an educator in debate and why does that cause subject formation, which it should independently debate, which it should independently outweigh because if you have dropped that the only thing that you're about to resolve is the only thing you're about to resolve is subjectivity's formed within this debate round. He said there's no make sense. It does not make sense for affirmative on truth testing, but we've also answered this in the one and see. Now they've also dropped your ontology wrong stuff is wrong. They've dropped our answers to neuroscience. It's not, our argument is not that people have this presupposed bias against Native people, but their claim is that interpersonal relations causes people to have intuitions that are racist and inherently biased against Native people because of our policies, etc. This was dropped, and they just extended their card without answering our argument. Now we don't have an argument without liberal examples. It's wrong. We don't need to win a cycle. Able to claim about natives. Our argument is about interpersonal relations and what causes that drive. Now, they do not solve colonialism because it is a question of the revenue what is these reputations. Means that the material impacts all goes away. It would go away even if wealth tax prevents death. That's irrelevant because the one thing should be evaluated as an object of research. Now they said that they do not defend the state. It's irrelevant because our links are all about intuition and we're not going for the state link. Now they said that all links to the critique because they use the decol as a metaphor. No, it is not. A, we are not going for the alternative. And B, it is not a metaphor because we literally defended material implementation of decolonization in the one C cross sex. Now, they said fairness is good. This argument was made after the timer. They've not answered any of our arguments about why fairness is bad and colonialist. And B, there is no internal link to fairness, i.e. by the app produces fairness. Look, true testing was not dropped. I know it's going to be 2 error, but it does not matter because we specifically said that our role of ballot and role of the judge as an educator answers this. The argument was 0. No link is not viable when they've conceded all of our arguments about intuitions are racist on both the substantive and the procedural level. Permutation goes away because we've kicked the alternative. The one I see is an object of research. Look, these are all arguments that are conceded.
1 minute.
I think you have 43 seconds, by the way.
Okay. The order's going to be the app and the cat. Is everybody good? Going through truth testing, the thing that's debate is weighing. They have not done any weighing, and we did weighing in the 1AC and in the 1AR. You just say that's an object of research which answers it, but all of your arguments are pragmatic reasons why we should be educators in debate, why our ballot should be used to resolve things like substitutes, but not a reason why you have a constitutive obligation to do so, or why you have the jurisdiction to do that in any place that is just all conceded. You conceded the NACA evidence, which means that you can only go, I'm not for whether the resolution is true or false, and that is the only thing debaters can go for, and the argument that is waiting on the ballot to only prove between the games who also about a resolution, which means that it is constitutive to debate. It's a jurisdictional issue because the question is whether or not the judge can go outside of the scope of the game. Conceded that all of your arguments are pragmatic reasons why we ought not do that, or why we ought to be educators in debate, but not reasons why you constitutively are an educator. You're only an adjudicator, which was the argument in the 1AC. Independently, this is just a nip for us because they do not have any topic links, which means that I can go, I'm still like slapping them on the general K debate, which means I can win this here. They just have done some weighing. We've done constitutivism weighing, which says that it's the only thing that you can vote on, even if you ought to do something else, you just simply do not have the obligation to, which was not contested. The K. The K, you just simply do not have a link. You conceded the answer to every single link, which is this game. It is just game over here. I'll do the line of all of the links here. Actually, no, I'll do the top level extension of it. You conceded that there is no link in the app solves the entirety of the K better because we agree with the K that you should not need an explanation for why colonialism is bad other than our initial intuition, which is the only relevant distinction between the two is that the app grants the intuition and normative truth via an ideal theory, which means that it solves the entirety of the K. If we follow the app's framework, which is that it resolves all of it. You concede the Shelby evidence, which is that it is better to use ideal theory, which outweighs because the question of truth and whether or not we can resolve the K, which outweighs all of your arguments. You only say that that is an abstraction, which is a bad thing, but you conceded that we can combine ideal and non-ideal theory together because ideal theory generates what we ought to strive for with the non-ideal theory, which means that it can be combined together, which means that it resolves all of your arguments, and ideal theory is a prerequisite to it because the guide for what we ought to strive towards your arguments is a distinction between natives and settlers, with the argument is that it's a distinction on the substantive level, i.e. the subject position, but the question is not what is happening in the world, but rather we ought to strive towards, which was conceded, and it's the only way to resolve things, which answers the first thing. The young evidence, you conceded that the right evidence makes this evidence go away because that is a question of intrinsic drives and desires, but you conceded no scientific study, which means that we do not have that is not innate in objectivity is possible, which takes it out. You've also conceded there's no psychoanalysis, Glenn, which takes out the Cook evidence. You conceded that this is about rationality, which does make sense applied to my app, and also that it would justify infinite genocide because we don't just say that truth is place-based, either the place in which settlers existed had the truth that they could genocide native people, but rather there's always a procedural intuition that says we should never violate another intuitive agent, which means we need a universal truth and an impact onto the arguments. The substantive intuitions are racist argument. No, you drop the procedural distinction. I would never violate another agent, which means genocide is always wrong. The procedural intuitions are racist. There's genuinely zero warrant for this argument. It's also not about property rights or how we feel about people, but violating somebody by causing genocide against them will always be the worst evil, which means that it's never justified. This argument is straight up incoherent. Was conceded didn't extend the Rifkin evidence. The wealth tax good argument doesn't. The wealth tax good argument just proves that our method is a better way to resolve under your own framework. You conceded that it is better. You link you lose stuff doesn't make any sense. You conceded that's a question of the app's method for resolving it, and that makes better advocates. The last argument is ontology. You conceded both answers. First, that it's essentializing and over-identifies natives as victims of colonialism, and that it's a structure. It's a not a structure. The new ideal of native progress, and the right evidence proves that it's false because we have the ability to overcome our drive to which outweighs. Continue truth testing. There's no link. The app solves everything.